Hi guys, welcome back. Today we're going to take a closer look at the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Shattered Grid. Now this is the third deluxe edition coming after year 1 and year 2, but this is a crossover between the Go-Go Power Rangers and the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers stories. So I believe it tells us in here, let's have a quick look. It says it's 24 through 30 of the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, free comic book day special, an annual Shattered Grid number 1, and Go-Go Power Rangers 9 through 12. So yeah, a bit of a mix in there overall. Let's take a closer look at the book itself, and then we can come back and discuss my thoughts. So on the front cover we have Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, and it's Lord Draken in his kind of final form. On the side we've got gold Mighty Morphin Power Rangers and our creators, and we've got the Shattered Grid, but it would have had year 1 or year 2. And then on the back we've got a plain kind of gold with Boom and Hasbro, and then if you notice here there are a few kind of imperfections to my actual gold finish, which was a little bit disappointing. The other thing I want to show you guys just before we go any kind of further with this is that, I see my book does have a slight kind of split happening in it, so if you can see here it is spreading out a little bit and coming off a little bit of the kind of ribbon. So I'm going to probably attempt to repair that, but if not, I might have to look at getting it replaced overall. We've got all our various creators, and we get a little bit of a kind of prelude before we jump in, so you don't necessarily have to have read the previous runs, but I would recommend that you read the first kind of couple of years of Mighty Morphin anyway. So overall the art is pretty good, but when you do get to the Dan Mora stuff, it does stand out a mile in comparison, just because he takes things to that whole other kind of level. So this is pretty much this issue here, it starts with him, chapter 4, and you can just tell straight away that his art is just so much better than a lot of the rest of the book. And as I say, it makes me want to go and get some of the other Go-Go stuff. At the back of the book we get a little bit of a couple of extra kind of issues, just kind of rounding things up after the main kind of ends. I don't want to spoil that. And then we have a cover gallery of a lot of the same kind of generic stuff you get in the previous 2 volumes, but the cool thing is at the back they have some for the Go-Go characters as well. So we have the new kind of Pink Ranger here, and let's see if there's a nicer one. There's one here of her and kind of Lord Draken, which is really cool. I really enjoyed the story in this book, and that's probably the biggest kind of takeaway here that I want to kind of give. The build of the book doesn't seem to be as good as the previous 2. It could just be the ones that I've kind of got my hands on, but it's been a bit kind of disappointing, and I might have to try and get a further copy, because I don't know how easy it's going to be to repair what's going on with mine. But other than that, as I say, the story has been really good fun overall. But it felt kind of like DC's Metal event in a way, where this was a big world-breaking sort of event, pulling in people from all the different universes and messing around with them. And yeah, so there's a lot of kind of things to do with that kind of side of things. There's a lot of stuff to do with the grid and connections to the grid and how that all kind of works. And that kind of feels very much like the Source Wall or the Speed Force in, DC. So So there's a lot of things there that I could kind of connect to sort of other things that you would kind of know, and I thought that was really good in the way they kind of developed those things and didn't just make them throwaway kind of things like they might have been in the TV show. The big art that stood out to me in this book is the Go-Go Power Rangers stuff. It's drawn by Dan Mora, I believe, for at least the first maybe 12 issues or so. And yeah, he's just awesome. I really enjoyed the art throughout. I wouldn't say there was anything particularly bad in there, but Dan Mora's stuff was definitely the stuff that stood out. So if you get a chance to check out any of Dan Mora's work, it's worth taking the time to do so, I guess is what I'm saying there. Story-wise, it kind of jumps back and forth, so it's almost issue about between the Go-Go Power Rangers and the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, and they are two different timelines of the same characters, so you are jumping back and forward in time. It was fairly easy to follow until they started taking some characters into either the older timeline or the newer timeline, and then I was getting a little bit confused sometimes as to what timeline we were in at any kind of point. It was all written really well and kind of pulls in together, and anything I did miss I think I'd quite easily pick up by reading through a second time. Other than that though, I really enjoyed this kind of 2 or 3 book arc. I do believe Kyle Higgins, who's wrote this kind of far, is actually now moving on to do other things, so he might be going back to DC, or I don't know. We'll see what he kind of does, but I believe it's new writers kind of going forward. So the next deluxe after this is called Beyond the Grid, I believe, and it's kind of aftermath kind of stories, and I've heard it isn't as good, but I guess we'll kind of see it as that kind of comes. Alright guys, that's it for this closer look. I hope you guys have learned a little bit more about the Power Rangers collected editions, especially the Deluxe Year 1, 2 and Shattered Grid. If you are planning on picking these up, or you have already picked them up yourself, it'd be interesting to hear below from you guys what your thoughts on these books are, and if you're planning on reading on Beyond the Grid, as they've kind of called it. If you want to see more videos like this in future, then subscribe and consider hitting that notification bell so you know as and when videos drop or when I'm going live. If you subscribed already, thanks for subscribing, thanks for watching guys, and I'll see you next time.